Welcome back. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan. Today we are breaking down the New England Patriots 3 round mock draft and the players that we selected for the Patriots' top 3 picks. But before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and also ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. Ryan and I, we're coming out with more Patriots 3 round, 7 round, and also individual mock drafts leading up to the 2024 NFL draft. Also, too, we are doing a mock draft for all 32 teams in this 3 round mock draft series. So, trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the Super Bowl. So, just 15 or so subscribers per video will help us reach our goal. So, if you're new here, it's greatly appreciated to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. So, Ryan, let's pull up the slide here. So, Jaden Daniels is the player that we ended up selecting here, and just give a little context of how we've organized this. So we have a couple of the picks before and after the Patriots pick here, which is in bold. And to the right, some other potential options we feel the Patriots could do. You know, I will say it's like Malik Neighbors probably wouldn't. I just threw him in there just because maybe if they value him more than
I was going to say a potential trade back scenario.
potential trade back scenario
yeah.
also too. I think could be fair, but even in that scenario, they might go Joe Alt. And so, as of right now, this channel, I would say, unless otherwise, we're probably in agreement that it's going to be 1, 2, 3 QB here. Jaden Daniels going to the New England Patriots, but we are starting an off conversation, and I think they could go another route. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the route I think that they should go if it's not QB. You like the Joe Alt route.
Yeah.
What's this? Why do you like Jaden Daniels in this scenario more? And then why do you think they should go Joe Alt potentially in a different route?
Yeah. So to me, I think Jaden Daniels is probably the most electric quarterback in this class. And what I mean by that is, like, I think you just turn on his tape, and to me, he jumps off the tape the most. Caleb Williams has a lot of highlight throws, but I think Jaden Daniels, just his athleticism really makes him stand out. And that's kind of his carrying trait. It's just how athletic he is. With that, he does have good pocket presence. His mechanics are fairly solid. Could use some work, but again, I think they're up there. Whereas I think you look at a guy like Drake May, and his throwing motion from one rep to the next could be completely different. And that's outside of like changing arm angles and things like that. But and then I also think too, his ability to create outside the pocket is a little understated as well. I do think the Patriots will go quarterback. If they do decide that they don't like Jaden Daniels, which by all means, if you're like, all right, we like Drake May's our guy, and then he goes at 2, I don't want them to feel forced into taking Jaden Daniels. And if they do go this route, and I do like Joe Alt more than Marvin Harrison Jr. For a couple reasons. One, I think Joe Alt, the drop off from tackle to the second round tackle is much bigger than Marvin Harrison Jr. to the second round wide receiver. And we can talk a little bit more about that in a second. I also think too, if you go Marvin Harrison Jr., you still don't have a quarterback and you still don't have an offensive line. And you have this Lamborghini on the outside that just nobody can drive. Like there's nothing to do. It's kind of like Garrett Wilson and the Jets. I think there's a ton of examples of great wide receivers in the NFL that they either don't have an offensive line to give quarterback time to throw them the ball, or they don't have either the offensive line or a quarterback. Right now, I think the current example is Garrett Wilson and the Jets. And so that to me is why I feel like Jaden Daniels is the pick. I really like him as a prospect. I do have some concerns, but I mean, at the quarterback position, I think if you find a guy as dynamic and explosive as him and is still as good of a thrower, I think you take your chances and try to develop him over the years. So you got to be in this one for the long haul, because you're not going to rebuild the Patriots in a season. So
oh yeah, no, I don't think they can go wrong. Like I wouldn't fault them for any of these picks. I would say, like, if it's Joe Alt, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Jaden Daniels, who we selected here. Again, in the grand scheme of things, if the guy doesn't work out, it's just because, like, at that time, it's like, you know, like I could fully understand why they would go with one of those guys here. I do agree with you though, like that, and that's why I think that they should probably go quarterback here, because in the receiver drop off, which is where I think that they'll go to if they want to go to their next pick, is I think that they could still get in elite talent in AD Mitchell here, and he can come in and honestly probably be like their number 1 receiver outside of maybe DeMar Douglas has kind of claimed that role, but instantly gives you a lethal weapon on the outside that Jaden Daniels could throw to. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. But there's going to be a lot of good second round receiver talent as well. I would say
Mhm.
I just put Marvin Harrison Jr. just on just a different level.
Well,
So
yeah.
he's one of the best receiving prospects I think we've ever seen. But then you can still go and get A.D. Mitchell in the second round here, and so I absolutely see your point then on like with Joe Walt, and so that's where I can get it on different approaches that you can have to the first round. So with that said, though, do have them going A.D. Mitchell here. Could absolutely go tackle now. This could be where they do take tackle off the board as well. I think Ryan. I don't know. For me, when I look at A.D. Mitchell, I think he's going to provide more impact sooner than
Yeah.
Tyler Guyton or Patrick Paul or some of the other offensive tackles available.
I would say, to me, it's a coin flip between A.D. Mitchell and Patrick Paul. To me, Patrick Paul is a left tackle. He needs some refinement in his game, but yeah, overall, I think A.D. Mitchell maybe is the slightly better player. I would say tackle maybe is the slightly bigger need. So again, it's kind of that give and take there. Knowing our next pick, maybe I would lean towards Patrick Paul, but A.D. Mitchell is a fantastic wide receiver. He has great size, great athleticism. He beat one-on-one top tier talent down in and down out on his tape in 2023. He just a fantastic prospect. And he's instantly the best receiver, I think, on New England's roster. And then I think you throw A.D. Mitchell in with Demario Douglas. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, had a really bad year due to one injury, but then also I think coaching. I just don't think was up to par. And so I think he comes back. And then you can maybe get a guy later in the draft, aka your next pick, which to me, Malachi Corley is a guy that I absolutely love. And if New England can get him here at the top of the third round, I think that would be a fantastic pick. This is a guy, so if you have A.D. Mitchell on the outside, he's going to be your coverage mover. If you have Demario Douglas, he's going to be able to create his own separation with how quick he is. And then to me, I think you have your yak, like screen gadget guy here in Malachi Corley, who isn't the most refined in terms of running routes or like just true wide receiver skills, but athletically and just what he does with the ball in his hands is truly special. And he's a guy that I don't think New England fans have really seen in ever in terms of what he can do after the catch. I know like Randy Moss obviously was there, but it's just having a guy like this, I think, would be a true game changer. And also, I think you look at now you throw him in with A.D. Mitchell, Demario Douglas, and then Jaden Daniels if they do go with him at 3. I think that's just a really, really, really athletic bunch. And I think you look, they're already tremendously better than they were in 2023, just in terms of being able to compete athletically with some of these defenses in the NFL. And I just, to me, I really like this spot right here for Malachi Corley.
Yeah, I was thinking about it also to like kind of get this prep work done. Is like we did go receiver, and we didn't touch the offensive line. Like, well, they do still have day 3 picks,
Yeah.
and they have found good value in the offensive line on day 3 picks. But even then, too, I think they have enough. They have a lot of cap space, so they should be able to then potentially go hunt down some tackles in free agency. But the interior of the offensive line was actually, I think, fairly improved. And I know you made I know you make the comparison to Garrett Wilson earlier on, but I think it's like if I look at the Patriots team, the Jets team, it's like I would take Bailey Zappi over any of those quarterbacks outside of Aaron Rodgers. I would take your offensive line over the entire Jets offensive line. Yeah. And so that's where I think that there are some pieces here. I think that you guys just had no weapons whatsoever. And so I think double dipping here in the receiving position, and as you laid out perfectly, like the different types of receivers that you'd be getting to complement then your now super athletic quarterback that you just got 3rd overall, I think could be very dangerous immediately for a lot of teams. Then like adding on Demario Douglas, I think Ramondre Stevenson is an underrated running back. He's just been on some tough teams. So it's by tough teams, I mean just not super successful teams. And so in general, though, I think that this is I really like this pick, and I really like these gadget type receivers now because it really makes it kind of fun to see how the good offensive coordinators, how creative they can get.
Yeah, and so to kind of wrap things up, and then I'll give kind of my final point here. So Jaden Daniels at 3rd overall, quarterback out of LSU, A.D. Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas at 34, and then the last top 100 pick, Malachi Corley, the wide receiver out of Western Kentucky at 68. To me, I know we didn't touch the offensive line, but these picks would help the offensive line tremendously. Just in the fact that I think you really look at one of New England's big problems, and you touched on it, was just they didn't have any weapons. So then, like, I remember playing I believe it was the Chiefs, and it was like, okay, they had a safety and then a corner out on a receiver, and then the Patriots had like 2 tight ends on the field. They had like even the safety, I think, was considered in the box. So they basically had a 10-man box against New England, and you would not be able to do that, I think, if they go out and they invest this kind of capital into some playmakers. And you'd have to at least have some respect for what they could do on the offensive side of the ball. And to me, that's only going to open things up. This defense is definitely on the right track. Matthew Judon is getting older and coming off of torn biceps, but I think all in all, the Patriots with this draft would be on the right track. So let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this New England Patriots mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you do differently? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.